So the wildfire season is off to a devastating start with fires burning from northern Ontario to British Columbia. Manitoba and Saskatchewan have been particularly hard hit, with thousands forced to flee from the advancing wall of flames. Now, not everyone is heeding the call to evacuate, though. Northern Manitoba First Nations community saw a number of residents refusing to evacuate, some of them with young children. Now, it's a growing problem, whether it's wildfires or flooding or other natural disasters. More people are refusing to leave, even though a state of emergency has been declared, and really they could be forcibly removed and potentially arrested and or fined. Some believe they can best protect their properties. Others feel it's a violation of their rights. Really? Well, let's just have a look at a couple of facts here. Why people apparently are refusing to heed evacuation orders more and more. Number one, a distrust in government. They feel that government officials are blowing the risk out of proportion, or that they have some kind of an agenda behind the whole idea of getting people to move out, if you can believe that. So, also, we have protecting property or animals. Well, many residents refuse to leave animals behind. I get that. Farmers or rural residents often want to stay to protect livestock or equipment. Fear of looting is also a powerful motivator for people to stay behind. Now, in Fort McMurray back in 2016, some residents returned after evacuation to guard homes from looters, just that very reason. Mm-hmm. Number three, here's one. Personal experience and risk perception. Misinformation online. Some are persuaded by conspiracy theories or incorrect information online, and emergency warnings are often downplayed or contradicted in online echo chambers. That's a huge thing to be dealing with if you're in the position of an emergency management official. We also have personal identity and independence. Especially in rural areas, there's a strong sense of self-reliance and personal responsibility, and being told what to do, particularly by outsiders, triggers resistance. Mm-hmm. I just find that hard to believe. So, what some of the experts are recommending is better communication and engagement ahead of crisis. Right. We can get into that one in a few minutes. Clear, trustworthy spokespeople who can deliver messages without political overtones. Yeah, just talk to me. Tell me what's going on. Support for evacuating pets and vulnerable individuals, which reduces resistance. And that is something that it's not taken lightly, but there are times when it does seem to be overshadowed by just sheer numbers that they're dealing with. So I can understand it to a degree, Eddie, but man, oh man, here's the other thing. If you stay behind, in the case of a wildfire, and there's one, as I said, in Manitoba First Nations community, and they had earlier this week 2 out-of-control wildfires bearing down on their community. And those fires start feeding themselves. They create their own internal firestorms with their own winds and everything. And all of a sudden you see them just flying across treetops. And there's very little time to get out, even professional firefighters dealing with those situations. they have to move quickly, and they have to make a decision very quickly as to, is it safe to stay? No, it's not. We've got to get out now.
Right.
So people sometimes don't realize, and yeah, well, it wasn't as bad as what they said it was going to be. And how often has that happened with weather forecasts?
Right.
But what you're doing is not only are you putting your own life at risk and the lives of others, such as your family around you, at risk, but you're also putting the lives of first responders at risk if all of a sudden you pick up the phone, or you've got your cell phone or some kind of radio communication, and you put the call out, "We need help now." Those guys, gals go rushing in, putting their own lives in danger, in extreme danger in some of these wildfire situations and even flooding situations, to pull you out after you refuse to go. Now, I just have a problem with that. I don't know.
I do as well.
And frankly, to me, if you refuse to go, I'm sorry, you've made your choice. You're going to have to live or die by the sword. It's as simple as that. Like, I know it sounds cold and cruel, but when you think about what has happened in the past and how quickly that a firefighter's family could lose their loved one trying to rescue some bozo who decided, oh, I can stick this one out. Now, what a lot of people don't realize is when a state of emergency is declared, whether it's municipal, and in particular here provincial and or national, there is legislation behind that. And it allows authorities to direct the evacuation of people and animals. Non-compliance in Alberta, for example, with an evacuation order can result in fines or arrest. In British Columbia, again, the same sort of thing. And offenders can face fines of up to $10,000 or jail time of up to 1 year. Ontario permits police or designated personnel to remove individuals forcibly and to arrest those who obstruct or fail to comply with emergency orders. And the Federal Emergency Act, which is rarely invoked, grants the federal government extraordinary powers, including the ability to compel actions and enforce orders. Civil liberties are still practiced, or protected, I should say, by the Charter of Rights and Freedoms, but enforcement powers can include detainment or arrest where necessary for public safety. The bottom line is, yes, authorities do have the legal right to arrest or forcibly remove individuals who defy evacuation orders during a declared emergency. These measures are seen as necessary to protect lives and prevent interference with emergency response efforts. And that's the other side of it, too.
That's right.
If you're in around that area and you're refusing to go, or you're like a rubbernecker and you're in trying to see what's going on, you could be hindering the flow of ambulances, pumper trucks, tanker trucks, whatever those crews who are fighting that fire or dealing with the flood require to get their jobs done. You could be hampering it.
I agree with you, Gary. There absolutely has to be consequences for individuals that absolutely refuse to leave their home. There is zero sensible reason why a person would stay in their homes, assuming or making the incorrect judgment call that this will pass over us, it's not going to affect me. Well, you know what? How often have we heard stories where it does impact an individual, and unfortunately this individual who refuses to leave takes down a few more people with him because of their stubbornness. Because yes, the rescuers are out there. They are civil servants. They're being paid to do a job. all of these individuals, most, if not all these individuals, go above and beyond a paycheck. They will go out there and risk their lives to go out and rescue you, even though you had 2 or 3 opportunities to not put yourself in that situation. Gary, very, very simply put, right? If there is a 3-story building and for some reason there is a crack in the foundation and somebody declares the building uninhabitable because it's too dangerous, how many individuals do you know of or think would actually stay in the building that has the potential of falling over at any moment? More often than not, these people will abandon ship. They'll leave their homes. Why do you have individuals out in the country or out in the bush that don't realize there is an impending disaster coming? It's time to go. You know what? From the 5 points you put up there in terms of theft, vandalism, and looting, you know what? Take your most prized possessions with you. I mean, more often than not, individuals have vehicles. Put your money, put your pictures, put your jewelry, put whatever you need to in your vehicle that you figure is worth money and leave. A kitchen table can be replaced. A refrigerator can be replaced. The contents in your contents in your refrigerator could be replaced. But what cannot be replaced is the life of a search and rescue team or a fire brigade member that goes down because of the fact somebody didn't heed warnings to get out of their homes and evacuate. There is no substitute. You know what, Gary? Human life is a loss no matter what, even if you're stupid or you're an emergency worker. Either way, it's a tragic loss. But what I hate hearing is when stupidity prevails and life is lost. I cannot stand that. So I'm in 100% agreement, Gary. Those laws that you stipulated that are provincial, I would make it a federal crime where, you know what, if you do not listen to a law official, especially when a state of emergency is declared, I'm sorry, it's jail time. Call me aggressive in this particular thing, but you know what, the police officer is going to do their job. They're going to get you out of there. Nobody dies, including the person that decided that they don't want to leave their property. It's just not right. Just not right.
No, it's not. And I can tell you from working with the emergency management people that these decisions are not taken lightly because there are a whole lot of things at play here, whether it's, where do we house these people? How quickly can we house them? How do we get them from point A to point B? The impact on the economy. If you declare the state of emergency, but you get things cleared up very quickly, there's still an impact on the economy. So there's a host of things. And, you go back to the days of the pandemic and the misinformation that was being spread around on social media. It just made no sense. And people were just eating that stuff up, like in just believing every crazy idea that came along. And the conspiracy theories and everything on social media, especially during the pandemic, I think has played into more and more of what we're seeing now when you have people who are refusing to evacuate with the threat of a wildfire bearing down on them, or a flooding situation, or we're getting you out to be on the safe side, and it may not come to pass, but right now it looks like it could come to pass. So we're getting you out of harm's way now while it's much easier to do it, because just turn on your newscast, your national newscast, and watch some of the video of people leaving some of these northern communities in Manitoba and Saskatchewan in particular in the last few days, and the flames are at the edge of the road. And I'm not just talking about like a little grass fire burning at the edge of the road. These are huge flames that were probably starting to melt the paint off the sides of their vehicles. Like they're that close. So these decisions are not taken lightly. And the other side of it is they err on the side of caution. They'd rather be, sorry that it didn't happen, and that you were inconvenienced, but at least you were safe. And had it come to pass that the fire rolled in, or the flooding, the river overflowed, and we had severe flooding, then you were safe, and you weren't scrambling at the last minute. And there's something else that, as Canadians, over the last, even just in the last 5 years, the intensity of the wildfires, the intensity of flooding at all times of the year, including in the middle of winter, has increased significantly. And Canadians, there has been a push by emergency management officials at the federal and provincial levels, and to a degree at the municipal levels as well, to be prepared for 72 hours. Have a kit that can last you for 72 hours of water, medication, and different things. But now you should be prepared. Like, we have a grab-and-go bag. Mm-hmm. And it contains all of our important papers and documentation and some other things. And that bag is ready to go at the drop of a hat. Boom, we're gone. And everything else after that, okay, it's all insurable. If I have time and I can grab my MacBook on the way by, I will, but that's not a necessity. My primary concern is to get my wife and the little one, the dog, out the door to safety, the petite pisser, out the door to safety. So we have to start taking some, once again, as individuals, I don't know why we've, just kind of pushed everything over. Oh, government will look after it. No, you know what? Sometimes you have to look after it yourself. You have to be prepared. And as I say, working with the emergency management officials and being involved in some training scenarios and everything, these decisions are not taken lightly at all. So it's best to listen up and do what you're told. Grab your family, your cat, your dog, cats, dogs, whatever, and your important documents, and get the hell out the door and go to wherever they're telling you to go. Because they always seem to manage to find places to set up. Look at Gander, Newfoundland back at 9/11.
Yeah,
look at exactly. How quickly all of a sudden they had 300 planes, something like that, land?
Yeah, very quickly.
It can be done. And again, those people, they had no control over their destiny at that stage. So just grab it and go. And if you feel your rights are being violated, well, at least you're going to live another day to bitch about it.
Right.
So go ahead and bitch.
Well, it's interesting too, though. I mean, you're looking at a lot of these rural areas, up north that are getting hit by these wildfires. And you brought up a couple of points. Number one, not trusting the government, and two, the crap that you hear on social media. Well, you know what? More often than not, in these northern communities and smaller towns, everyone knows each other. Okay, so if the local chief or the local sheriff or local government official comes by and says, "Hey, listen, Joe, you got to get out of here. The fire is going to overrun this town. If you don't leave, you're going to die." Well, I would imagine there would be a certain level of trust with the people that you probably bump into every second day when they say, "Get out of Dodge, get out of Dodge." So I still don't understand, how people don't trust, what? I don't trust the government. But Gary, you know what? If you came running upstairs, running up the 4 floors and basically say, "Eddie, we got to get out of here. The building's going to collapse." Well, you know what I'm going to do is, Gary, lead the way. I'll follow you out because I know you. I mean, I just don't get that, and that's the first thing that came to my mind. In some of these indigenous communities up there, I mean, they're very small. I mean, you're talking 1,000 people tops, 500 people tops in the village. Everyone knows each other. So if the chief comes blasting his sirens and basically saying we need to evacuate, well, you know what? If it came from the government, fine. But this is your friend. That's your friend and your neighbor that's saying get out of town, otherwise you're going to die. I'd probably trust him regardless of what I thought about the government. I don't know. I guess I just don't get it, Gary, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, no, and neither do I. But yeah, don't be a dunce. Just do it.
Yeah.
And like I say, you'll live to bitch about your rights being violated the next day, or as you're stretched out on your emergency cot in an emergency housing situation, and you have your phone with you. You get on Bookface or X or whatever, and bitch all you want about, well, my rights were violated because I had to leave my house. Meanwhile, you might want to check on your security camera, as so many have done in the last few days, and watch their houses on their security cameras go up in flames and smoke. Yeah. And very quickly, like once it hits, it's gone. You would not have enough time at that stage to get yourself to even think about getting yourself to any kind of safety at all. So, like I say, bitch away. It'll fall on my deaf ears, but you can bitch if you'll feel better. So.